Hi everyone, hope you are well. Welcome to our today's class. I see the number small today, I don't know why. Maybe we'll get to know why in the course of the class. Uh, Before I introduce our today's class, just to mention that we'll have a new person signing the language for us. So it's good to have a change today. I know we are used to Byron, but today we have someone new. And for gender purposes, today we have a lady. So I will let her introduce herself so that we can get to know her. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Abigail Mikamba, and that's my sign name. I'll be today's interpreter. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Pleasure having you with us today. And of course, we hope that you'll be there for some time. Even it would be our pleasure having the two of you signing with Byron, but I know we can have one at a time. So welcome. Today we have our facilitator. He will be joining us soon. I know last week we had Madam Rose Rono. Today we are going back to have George McCory. He will be with us in a few. So you can tell your friends who have not yet joined to join so that we can start together. So in the next 2-3 minutes, George should be here and we'll be able to proceed with the class. Meanwhile, I know the topic for today is quite engaging. It's touching on financials. And I know as most of you are coming out of school or are already out of school and of course ready to get into the job market, I know finances are one thing that will always be hitting in your mind. So you can be posting some of the question on the chat box so that when George comes, it's just a matter of answering to them so that we do not take time again posting those questions and asking them when the session is ongoing. So I know you have the subtopic of the day. Who can tell me the subtopic of the day? Someone to unmute him or herself. No one knows the subtopic for the day.
I'd like to say it.
Okay.
It's basic financial life skills, the module, but the topic is budgeting principles and skills.
Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. So at least you know what to expect and what will be tackled in that. And of course, I know you might have some questions related to it, so you can post them on the chat as we await for a moderator or facilitator to join. I see there are no questions still coming, so maybe I will want to get from volunteers. What do you expect from today's class? Volunteers before I pick. Anyone to volunteer? Okay, if not, now I have the leeway to pick someone. Mili Gadiani, what are your expectations from today's class? What do you envisage yourself getting from this class? You can unmute yourself and go on.
I can't hear you.
Who can't hear me?
Me.
Lynn.
Yes, Farah.
Josie, can you hear us now? Josie,
Yes, Farah, I can't hear you.
can you hear us now? Okay, I'm chatting you. Check your inbox. So, Mili Gadhiani, what do you expect to learn from or to hear from today's class?
Okay, in today's class, I'm expecting to know how I can be able to manage my finances, however much or little, how I can be able to manage so that I can be able to, so that I can be able to manage my expenses.
Okay, thank you. Teddy Omondi, what do you expect to learn from today's class?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Teddy.
Okay, I expect to learn what to do after you get your first salary.
Okay, thank you, Teddy. George, I hope you've had some of the expectation. I hope from your presentation you'll be able to meet all of them and, of course, guide these honorable Kenyans or our friends on how to manage their finances. George, over to you now.
Thank you, Joseph. These guys are not short of expectations. They're really heavy with the expectations, but I'm sure we'll meet all of them. Joseph, am I loud and clear?
Yeah, you are loud and clear. And just to bring you to par, of course, today we have a new sign language interpreter, Abigail Mukamba. So she'll be taking us through on behalf of Byron Abuli.
All right.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, allow me to share as I take them through the preamble to the class. Hi, everyone.
Ready, Dan?
Guys, it's nice again to meet you. I can see you're full of expectations, and I promise you we are getting to the boiling point of the whole conversation. And this is now a reality show. It's no longer fiction. It's actually real life. We want to make it as real as possible. And I can see already 60 of you are on board. I'm hoping to see a few more coming on board before we kick off. But today we are going to our 14th session. It means we've already covered 13 full sessions. And for those who have been keen enough, you've grown. You are now on 13 years. You should be blowing your 14th candle. And that means then that we have made a tremendous progress. And I hope you have been able to learn a lot. Otherwise, us moving on with the process without you getting the concept, it will be an exercise in futility. But I believe majority of you are happy with the process. And today we'll get a small session to just touch base on how has it been going, what sessions were good to you, and what more could have you expected that we did not provide, or what was so interesting to you, or what could you like us to either emphasize or give more details in terms of information and all that. This is what we hope that we'll be able to touch base on today at the tail end of this class. So today is the big day, and as I start sharing, our session today is on financial management, or rather personal financial planning and management, in a manner that, yes, we've worked so hard, you have worked on your confidence, your motivation is at high, everything is okay, you have applied for your jobs, your resume is super. The question is then, what next? How then do you manage money finally when you get the money? Because I think that's where sometimes we have problems. We work so hard to struggle so much. Finally, when we get the jobs, we lose them as soon as we find them. Or we actually lose focus immediately we get the resources. Or we make a huge assumption that money will always be there. And unfortunately, this is where we lose the point, and we end up losing in a big way. So today we'll see a couple of things that will help us unpack that. So let me try to share my slides. You let me know as soon as you see it. Are we all together?
Yes.
Is the screen good enough to everyone? Abigail, please confirm.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Good. So today, as I said, we are hoping to help you sail successfully into the future. But the door we are using is the financial management door or financial independence avenue. That is the avenue we are taking. And I have to assure you that you are in safe hands. The driver today is a professional driver. And in terms of qualifications, actually, this is my core competence, despite other competencies. So financial management is my core competence. This is what I've been doing and been training for a very long time. So you will not be short of content, or you will not be short of good answers and good direction. So that kind of assurance can make you not to sleep in class, but actually be more keen to get the concept and the gist of the whole lesson that we're discussing today. So that is as far as who I am. So the objectives of today is targeting you as a young person, as a young graduate who is hoping to start his or her future very soon. And therefore you need to know the basics of personal financial literacy. And with this session, we hope to arm you with a number of things like 10 principles of personal financial literacy that we expect that will guide you thoroughly through your life. So we hope that you will understand the 10 must-know personal finance principles, and you should be able to apply them to your own life experience and also to manage your own life and navigate the turbulent world of work. We'll also introduce a small concept, which I think many of you already know for those who are doing management courses: time value of money, and of course the risks associated with financial decisions. This is a core area in finance. You will never say you have made it in finance. You have no clue what time value of money is or what risk is associated with the decisions you make on a day-to-day basis. After that, we'll also try to assess the relations between money and your life. A model we are using is the CAB model, where K stands for knowledge or a theory, and then the R stands for action, and of course the B is the behavior or changes or expectations that we need to establish that money relationship. So that is the content for today. We hope we'll be able to finish, but at this point, I'll want to ask a question, and maybe by show of hands, how many of you have ever encountered a finance class, or how many of you are in the line of finance or business, commerce, at least who understand a bit of this, so that I know how deep I should go and whether I can be allowed to comfortably use some of the finance jargons. So by show of hands, can I know the number of you who have encountered finance classes, or at least who have an idea what financial management is all about, either by virtue of you doing an undergraduate in business, in finance, in accounting, or any other business course that is giving you an hint about financial management? Can I see your hands up? May as many of you who have been in this class raise their hands for purposes of knowing who is in the house, not for any question. Okay, I can see Leon Ondieki, I can see Evelyn Akelo, I can see Oduor, I can see Maureen, I can see, it's almost everybody. Lona, Laura, Shady Felix, Khan Amra, Sulfikar, Anne, Brian, Kelvin Mtuma, Mima Barak. So So quite a number of you, I think. Almost 30 of you. This is a good indication. And so I can comfortably, of course, with the explanations and to bring everybody on board to the non-financial guys to ensure that all of us are speaking the same language. Anytime I use a jargon or a finance technical language, I'll try to unpack it so that all of you can be able to enjoy the class and of course, gain the much needed content to move to the next level. So thank you. Now you can put your hands down so that you can fasten your seat belts as we start the journey. So that's a good indication of who amongst you has done this course. That is exciting. So we are done with the learning objectives. Now, let us first start by defining or rather trying to unpack what financial literacy is all about. There's an element of finance and there's an element of literacy that is coming in. So when you put them together, then it says it's the ability to understand in simple languages how money works in the world, how someone may be able to earn or make money. It occasionally also talks about someone managing already earned money, and sometimes doing investments, managing your expenditure. All that is knowledge around financial literacy that will help you progress or give value for your money. Everything you do, the concept I have in me is that I have to give value for the money that I put in anything I do. So one of the things I want you to write down and keep is the concept of value for money. Whatever assignment you're given, ask yourself, have I given value for the money that I've been paid for this kind of assignment, whether it's a small assignment, a volunteer service, a simple task. You really need to ensure that whoever has paid for that service feels happy because you have given value for their money. So the first thing that I want you to keep at the back of your mind is the value for money in everything you do as a young gentleman or lady in this world of work. So therefore, it refers to the set of skills and knowledge that will definitely allow an individual to make informed and effective decisions of all their financial resources. Later on, we'll talk about the financial resources I'm referring to, but for now, we are talking of managing your own financial resources. So it is the ability to use your knowledge and skills to manage your financial resources prudently for a lifetime of financial well-being. This is what I call value for money. So the prudent management of resources is actually the other word for, is synonymous to value for money. So that is the kind of literacy we are trying to talk about. Further, it is the ability to understand and make use of a variety of financial skills. You will understand at some point that we have a number of financial skills that you require as a person to manage a number of things. When it comes to investments, we have investment models. When it comes to cost reduction, we have methodologies of reducing cost. When you are going to enter into the market, we have so many strategies of entering the market. You can take the cost leadership, you can take the penetration strategy, you can take the, there's so many other strategies of entering a new market. As you want to be a market leader or you want to be taking charge of a market. So that's what I refer to when I say financial management skills. So achieving financial management can help you avoid making poor financial decisions. Again, the other word you need to underline is financial decisions. It is also important, and part of it is adjective number 2 that you need to put down. After value for money, put down financial planning. So financial planning will unpack what it is all about, but it's a whole process of ensuring that you are making the right decisions right from you receiving the resources, managing the resources, investing the resources, managing your costs, and eventually getting the best out of your resources. That is financial planning. It's also part of the budgeting process. So achieving financial literacy, or for you to be considered to have the tag financially literate, you can help individuals avoid making poor financial decisions. It means financial decisions can be either be poor prudent or imprudent, sensitive or insensitive, or rational or irrational, depending on who is making it and the evidence you're using to make such decisions. So then they become self-sufficient and achieve financial stability, which is learning how to create a budget, meaning when you get the money, you don't just spend just because you have money in your wallet. And then you tell people, I'm as big as the wallet behind me. Number two is tracking the spending. Yes, you have that budget, but are you tracking how you spend? Or do you just wake up in the morning and you realize you have overspent in one line, or you have put all your money in entertainment and you have failed to pay your academic tuition fees and other things which are a priority. And of course, if you have debts, the rule of the thumb is that you must pay off debts. And also plan for retirement. Unless you are Father Abraham, I think at some point you will age. You may have to retire and the curtain will fall down for you or will wind down for you. And at that point is when you need that money. And if it's not there, then jiggers are around and will invest in you. And of course, you will not enjoy your retirement. We hope that none of you gets that kind of compromising predicament. That's why we really want to have this information so that at least we can say we are financially literate and we have an idea how to manage our resources. So educating yourself on these topics or some of these topics will involve learning how money works, setting and achieving financial goals. Remember, we did set goals. Financial goals was one of the goals that we were setting. At some point, before I go very far, I'll want to ask, what are some of your financial goals? So that we can see what kind of brains we have here and what kind of dreams that are packed in this hall today. So we'll also try to get these key things. One of them is the foundation for money management. Where do we need to ground our management skills on money? The knowledge behind financial freedom, this thing that we call financial freedom. When are you financially freedom or free? Or when do you say you're financially independent? We'll talk about it at some point as we move to the 5th or 7th slide. Of course, it will also handle a bit of budgeting, and we see how you can make a few savings and some of the formulas we can use in savings and investing. The whole idea of debt management and of course, the associated risk when you take the debts and all that. So this is what we are going to cover, and we believe this is the whole mass of financial literacy, and everyone needs this. Unfortunately, not many of us have this, or somehow we have been living and succeeding by the grace of God. Just made it. Not because we are smart, because somehow we made it. Somebody is very happy. Can I share the joy? Hello? All right.
Proceed, George.
All right. Now, I want to, before I go very far, can I have a few guys telling us about their financial dreams or financial plans? What kind of plans do you have, if I may ask? Can somebody tell us what kind of financial plans you have? Or what are your financial goals, if I may ask, from the just slide we did? Just one, we did. If you see what I have highlighted, we were talking of setting and achieving financial goals and managing financial challenges that it throws your way. So if life is throwing some challenges along your way, send you have a couple of financial goals. So at this point in time, I wanted to have an idea of what kind of goals do you have? Do you want to be investment managers? Do you want to be the Bill Clinton and the Bill, what do you call these billionaires in the US who are controlling the economy in terms of epidemiology and all these things? What do you want to be? Sorry?
Bill Gates and
Bill Gates and Belinda foundations, the Johnson and Johnson. Yeah, those kind of guys. So really, what kind of goals are in this class? That's what I need to sample.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
For me, my financial goal is to become a corporate trader. You know, the one who you buy organizations to influence social change.
Great. You want to buy organizations so that you can influence social change.
Yes.
What if you buy organizations that are dying and you die with the organizations?
It's highly unlikely because I'll have to assess the organization before I decide to buy it or not.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you done any management course? And there is a case in finance. Some of the cases you've heard of the Enron.
Yes, there's the Enron, there's the Time Warner merger that flopped.
Yes, using the single unit SBUs.
Yes.
And the guys who
there's
are
also, and there's also the delayed transition of Kenya Airways to a national corporation through a special purpose vehicle.
Will you manage when Ikuni has failed?
I'll try.
Work hard, my friend. But that's a good idea. That's a good financial goal. It means you are already looking at where you can influence. That you can only do that if you're financially independent and you've got a couple of resources that you can invest and buy. Otherwise, you don't walk to people's organization and just walk out with them. You really need to pay good money. And of course, when you do that, you really need to invest a lot of financial skills, management, investment, and all that to ensure that they remain afloat. Turning around some of these institutions from loss making to profit making is no monkey business. It needs brainers and it requires people who are committed and of course, guys who know how to influence others to work and achieve the best. So Milly Gantiani, your hand has been up. Can I allow you to say something? Milly, unmute yourself.
No, I had raised my hand earlier. I forgot to lower my hand.
Unfortunately, that is the price you have to pay for having your hand up. Can you give us your financial goal, please? Unless you don't have any.
Okay, I can say my goal is to probably achieve financial freedom. Yeah.
How do you intend to achieve that? There are a couple of small goals that will lead you to financial freedom. Perhaps you have to invest, you have to make some savings, you have to get a good job, you've got to have some financial management skills and all that. So what kind of goals do you think will lead you to financial freedom?
I think more of investing rather than saving.
Okay.
Yeah, so I prefer actually investing than saving.
But how do you invest without saving? Because investment is a function of savings minus expenditure. Then you get amount available for spending. Anyway, we are getting into that, don't worry. At least I get your point. It's good enough. Betty, come on board, please.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening to you.
I tend to believe I'm not well endowed in this finance matters since I'm not in the finance field.
Yes.
But I don't think one would really invest well without a good savings plan. And for like right now in Kenya, we hear the youths are crying for jobs, government jobs actually, because they know that's where solid capital might come from. With the state of affairs in the country right now, for us youths, without a solid financial plan, it would be really hard to save, because someone would think, for example, in entrepreneurship, why save a lot of money yet you don't have some of the basic needs? to live from hand to mouth. So that becomes a challenge in setting a financial goal for most of us youths. Yeah.
Thank you, Betty, for introducing that new terminology. It's a problem to have idle cash. There is something called idle cash in finance. You have money lying idle in the bank. If you are going to sit on money, just to feel your wallet is full and you are not doing anything to multiply your money, it's another disease that we are going to take care of at some point. So really, it's not good enough to have money, because you really need to multiply that resources to ensure that you don't lose money because of that concept of time value for money. 1,000 shillings now cannot be the same tomorrow, because there will be a lot of things which will have happened, and the 1,000 that could buy something now may not buy the same maybe a year or so to come. So as we go deeper into the money value, the concept of value for money, the time value for money, as we go into prudent decision making, all these things, you will realize that you really need to know how to invest. And you need more money to invest. And to invest will require a good saving habit. And from the saving habit, then you have more disposable income. And through more disposable income, then your investment muscles and capacity is enhanced. And through a bigger investment capacity, you can be able to undertake other avenues. And of course, you can easily multiply, or your ability to multiply resources. One last, and then we move on. Beatrice Masinde. Beatrice, are you on board? Brian Inderitu?
I'm the one who spoke about special purpose vehicles, so.
Oh, sorry. Then I'm looking for David Giduku.
Hello, George.
Yes.
I think before we continue with the class,
yes,
that point I'd highlighted before about how to get the flow in cash, because you see you can't save without money without a source of money. Can I would like to request, if it's possible, you tackle how to get into the money space. How do you, because you see you can get employed, but then the money you're getting is not even enough for you to save.
Yes.
Because you have to pay recurrent bills like rent, water, transport, food.
Yes.
Every month you are spending money. What are you then saving?
And you will continuously spend.
Yeah, you see, you spend without, like for example, the salary is fixed. You stay in Nairobi, you earn a figure of 20,000. In nyumba unakaa ya 7K. You need to eat. You need transport. What are you saving? I think from when we approach that from that point, we then get to a broader picture of what are we saving. By the time to invest 50,000, una save pesa ngapi? Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm lucky that as part of my planning, I foresaw that question, and I'm going to respond to it in two ways. The first time I'm doing it is through how to manage your income generation. Then the other side is now how to manage the little that you have and the kind of formulas you can use to sort of give you an idea on how to invest or how to save. And I'm going to use some known models that guys have used and that are very known. And at the end of this, I've given you 5 resources to read. So before we finish, I'll highlight those books, and I have some material for you to read that is going to boggle your mind in responding to your question. But hold on your thoughts. Before we finish, I'll be done with you and you'll be happy. So Betty, I have your question in mind. Let's proceed. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so now problem number 1. Can you map your financial future? I tried to start that process by trying to ask you your financial goals, but I want you to use this kind of image to boggle your mind and also to really jog up your mind and see the magnanimity of the kind of decisions that we're going to make in the financial future. So when we talk about our financial future that is independent, that future that is financially stable, that future that is going to buy other organizations, there are a number of things that you've got to decide even as you figure out your future, what it looks like. Problem number one, as Faith has said, is you really have to mind about food and health. Every day I wake up, I find my stomach is ahead of me. The day you find your stomach has gone behind you, maybe you'll be headed to the ground. So you may not need food and health will not be a concern. But so long as it's ahead of you and all of us are healthy and looking forward to the future, then food and health is a concern for us. In terms of the basic needs, food and health is the number one and number two, or number one and two and two and one, in that order. Of course, that future may have a family coming your way. The gentleman has come first, but it may be the lady coming first. And of course, you can see children and grandchildren coming your way. That future, depending on how far you can see and the kind of horizon you're looking at and the magnanimity of your dream, it could involve things to do with your families and your family investments. At some point, you'll have families, you'll provide for children, they may have to go to school. After school, they may have also to get their jobs and all this. That's the genealogy of what you're discussing in family matter. Future, successful buying companies without a family. Unless you are like my friend who said that for him, celibacy is the way to go. All right. Of course, number two is the job market. Part of the reason why we have come this far is to ensure that you and as many of you as possible can be able to connect to the job market. We are trying to address that problem where we have skills mismatch. We have skills going to the job market and the jobs are not there. Or the jobs are there, but the skills required are not the skills we have. So we are trying to demystify that whole idea of getting jobs and connecting to jobs. And the mystery of unemployment in Kenya. Of course, there are other macroeconomic effects that for today will not dwell into. But of course, job searching or job opportunities is a function of so many other things. The inflation rate, the unemployment rate, the job opportunities available, the level of inflation in the economy, and all these other things. And of course, now the government restrictions, especially regarding to COVID-19, all these are issues that surround the job. The technical advancement in the job market, all these are things that we look and when we discuss matters of jobs, and it's part of the future. Of course, you are right now pursuing your education. Some of you have graduated. Some of you are at the tail end of your graduation or your course or your career. As you do that, you are trying to move from the education to now the job market. After all, why have all the degrees if you cannot get a good job or you cannot be a good entrepreneur so that you can make the money you need, then so that you can also have your financial independence? It's not good enough to be, managing people's cases in court, treating people with so many other complications in life, but then you have no money at the end of the day, or jumping in between matatus to go and treat people and you don't have a car of your own. It's not going to be a nice experience. Now we're in a COVID period. You're going to expose yourself. So education is going to be an enabler to getting a good job, to getting a good family, and of course, getting good food and health. And of course, even love. I'm told when you have good money, love is better. Those who have experienced that can share that at some point, but when you have money, you are lovable. When you are poor, even your love is poor. Is it true? It's a question for another day. But of course, you can't have sport and fun without food, without being healthy. Sport and fun by yourself is also not good enough. You need your family around and all that. Sometimes good sports and fun is in the nice golf clubs and the members clubs. And if you can't afford to be in a members club, then you can't enjoy it. Otherwise, we have small homes, a 50 by 100, you cannot play your golf there. Kigonga pande ile umegonga sukuma, kigonga pande ile umegonga mtoto wa mwenyewe. So where do you play? You can't afford a golf. You can't afford traveling to another venue where you can enjoy your sport. So sport and fun is part of your future. This is not the end, the list in totality. I know there could be other things. For example, like you may want to have properties. Your future could be part of the real estate management. You may want to own some properties here and there. You actually may want to be having some businesses. You may want to be an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship is part of your future. You may want to be a teacher, and the teaching and your professions may be your future. So I was only trying to use this map just to show you how your financial map looks like, or the things that will eat into your finance, or the key stakeholders in your financial journey, or the key consumers or the key sectors consuming in your home economy. This is what your future will be managed and be controlled by those factors. Any question this far? Anybody who needs to clarify anything as we move deeper? Silence means nobody. All right, let's proceed. Next issue. So let's discuss yet another very important aspect of financial management and personal financial discipline. The first discipline that we have to deal with is the discipline of budgeting. This is where it all starts, with your financial goals, and of course, planning for the little resources you have. So, Betty, as you are asking your question, I'm imagining that probably you've already, with the little you earn, and any amount of money you earn needs a budget. In fact, the little you earn, or the lesser you earn, the better your budgeting skills must be, because then you must know how to balance between the opportunity cost and know where your priorities are and know where your needs and wants are, so that you know how to put the money where it is required most. So the lesser you earn, the better budgeting skills you need to make it in life. So budgeting starts with tracking how much money you receive every month. That lists salary you get every month, minus your transport, minus the few things that you spend every month and every morning. You need to track that. How do you track that? There are so many ways of doing that. There's moving from the complex to the least complex. But to start with, don't be complex. Just use a simple Excel sheet. You have your 20,000, and on that paper or on that Excel sheet, now that all phones now have capacity to open up Microsoft Office, Suite, and all that. You can have your Excel, you can have your Word and all that. It doesn't have to be in Excel. It being in Excel only makes it easier for tracking and of course for additions and the numerical accuracy and all that. But any form of a budget is necessary, regardless of how much you earn. So the most important thing in this budget is to track your budget and lay bare a number of things. So Betty, I'm still on your case. Number one you need to manage is income. In your budget, just like any budget, even an organizational budget, the first item that you must really work on is income list. You really need to be sure what are all your income sources. Whether you have some sukuma wiki you sell, whether you have some chicken and some eggs you sell, your side hustles and all that, then your job and all those things you do. If you are weaving at home, all the things you do and that bring money to you, can you list all of them? So long as you have some money with certainty coming every month. So see how much you receive in a month, and this can include your paychecks, your investment income, your side hustles, settlements, and any other thing that you have as income to yourself, including donations. If you have brothers who sponsor you, if you have sponsors, sponsorship fee is part of it. Or if you are a sponsor, of course, it will come under expenditure. But you are being sponsored, it becomes as income. All right. Number 2 is expenses. We are now moving slowly into budgeting process. Once you know your income, it then tells you how big your cake is before you start sharing it. The next thing you have to manage is the expenses. List every purchase you make in a month, but you need to split it into 2 categories. We have some called fixed expenses and others are discretionary expenditure. So if you can remember where you are spending money, review your bank statement. If you can't remember, there comes a time when you spend and you can't remember where you spent. Now M-Pesa has an M-Pesa ledger. If you are spending through M-Pesa, you can go and download your ledger and you can see all where your money has gone. You can also review your bank statements if you're using a bank. If you're using a credit card, then you can also get a credit card statement and you'll be able to trace where your money has gone. The idea is you should know where your expenses are or what you have been able to spend. Then let's also try to unpack what fixed expenses are and what discretionary expenditures are. The fixed expenses are the purchases or expenses that you make every month and you have no choice but to make them, and whose amounts do not change. They may seem little, high, not high, but here you have no choice. And they are considered very essential. You can't do without them. For example, you have to pay rent. If you don't have a home of your own, then you have to pay rent. Unless you want to purge like a bird. Otherwise, you have to pay rent. No matter how small your cube is, or your home is, or how big it is, if you don't own your home, then rent is going to be a fixed expenditure. We don't expect you to be a nomad, moving from one house to another every month, or like a city hopper. From Kawangware to Kanunganga, from Kanunganga to Donholm. You can't do that. It is tiring, it is exhausting, it is also wasteful. That's why it is fixed. You've got to know where you want to stay, especially if you get a job, then you get one place that is very strategic to where you are going in terms of expenditure and of course in terms of costs. And of course, depending on the amount of money you're being paid for that job. That is fixed expenditure. But discretionary spending, on the other hand, is what we call non-essential spending. It varies with purchases. Like the restaurant meals, you can choose the restaurant you want to go. You can go to Fogo Gaucho and eat every meat that you want to eat under the blue sky. Sometimes eat even what you've never eaten because you have money to do so. But if your budget is limiting, then Bama may be the best place for you to go, or maybe Nando's and other places. You can even do with a coffee at Java and you're done. So here it is discretionary because it is you to decide where you want to go depending on how much money you have or how loaded you are or how hard you have worked. Here it is discretionary. It means you can avoid it. It's avoidable. It's not necessary. And you can manage it and you can save if you need to save. So we consider these wants and not needs. Once it's a need, then you must have it. If you are sick, you have to seek medicine. If you need school fees, you have to pay for it. Otherwise, you drop out of school or out of campus. So discretionary spending then in that kind of conversation becomes a want. I want this, and I know many of us know how to want things. You will go to the supermarket and you want everything, but sometimes you are limited by the resources. And because of that, then you do discretionary spending, depending on the opportunity cost and what you think is a priority for you and the resources available or your disposable income. Now, we are coming to the next concept that I think is also important as I continue responding to Betty, savings. Somebody said that he's not keen on savings, but he's keen on investing. I said there's a little problem with that because for you to invest, you need to do some savings. If you don't have savings, then you may not be able to invest unless you have a windfall gain or you have an inheritance from your parents or you are one of those people who knows how to hit the jackpot with spot pesa. Then you will have money ready to spend without you sweating. But otherwise, if you are going to use your earnings, Then from the earnings, the only way you can make investment is by savings. We are coming to that in the next slide number 2 from now, if not 1. So savings is sort of a record of the money you are saving each month. It could be in cash, it could be in your mobile, your M-Pesa account, deposited into your bank. It could be an investment that you have done and you're getting a brokerage commission, whatever it is, that is savings. Any little money that at the end of the month, once you have paid all your expenditure and you have paid all the fixed costs and your discretionary spending, there is little money remaining, which some people call emergency. So that once you're done with your expenditure and your discretion, something may come up. And sometimes the savings come handy to sort you out when you're in this kind of a quagmire. So, rule number 1 is that a budget is essential to living within your means. That is the first principle in budget and in financial independence. Rule number 1, you must have a budget, and that budget is going to be essential to living within your means. In other words, you can earn, but the rule of the thumb is that you have to live within your means. You try living out of your means, you'll have a miserable life, as we'll see in the next few slides. So to achieve this living within the means, some finance guys have come up with a very good model or a rule of the thumb, which we call the 50, 30, and 20 rule. This 50, 30, 20 rule in budgeting offers a great flexibility and framework, but it breaks down the 3 components as follows. Number 1, 50% of your take-home pay, meaning 50% of your salary or your net income, because the government eats before you eat. You may not be able to touch it because it's at source. So that's your net income. So 50% of your net income should go to your life essentials, such as paying your utilities, your rent, your groceries, your transport. And those essentials, if you have to do your hair, you have to do your nails, all those are essentials. So it's you really who defines what your essentials are. So the rule of the thumb is ensure that 50% of your salary is consumed by your essentials. And I've explained what the essentials are. Then number 2, which is the second in that rule of the thumb, 30% should be allocated to your lifestyle expenses, such as now dining out, going out for clothes, you need to also have some fancy things here and there. At least don't do more than 30% in that. The moment you find you earn your salary and all of it goes to lifestyle, you are suffering from a lifestyle disease, because then you are going to be deficient in so many other ways, as I'll tell you in a few minutes to come. So number 1, 50% necessities, 30% spend it. I mean, you need also to enjoy your life while you live. Dine as you want, but at least ensure that you're doing so within your 30% rule. But remember, you also need a 20% that has to be going to the future. This is what now will be paying down the debt. This is what going to be the components for savings, and of course the future retirement and emergencies. So 20% of your current earning should always be taking care of your future. So the first seed I'm going to plant is the rule of the thumb, which says, please live within your 50, 30, 20 rule. Brian Momanyi, I can see your hand is up. Is there something I need to sort out? Brian, do you have a concern I need to address?
I'm sorry. Hello, I don't think my hand is up.
Okay.
Now it's up. No.
3 is down. All right.
Okay.
I'm safe. Tuko sawa, this far we've gone, tuko sawa pamoja.
Yes, yes.
Has everybody gotten the rule of the thumb in budgeting, which is the 50, 30, 20 rule? 50% essentials, 30% lifestyle, 20% future. That's rule number 1. So the third thing I've told you to write down, I told you value for money, I told you financial goals. We've now come to the budgeting principle, or the rule of the thumb in budgeting, that I've already given you. Even if you miss anything else, please ensure the things I'm highlighting are familiar with you. Ask a question if it's not. Okay. Having understood that, let me try to also unravel and help some of us what I mean by this. This is what is the recommended budget as a percentage of net income. Remember the net income I spoke about. So, number one, in that 20%, 10% of the 20% is savings for the future, for your retirement and all that. So at least this is the bare minimum, that at least ensure that 10% of your net income goes to saving for you to have a balanced life. Housing, of course, has been given 30%. You are lucky if you are having a free home or you are staying with your brother, your guardian, and you're not paying any rent. So anytime you are not paying anything into housing, please consider increasing your savings rather than utilities. Because if you take advantage of the free housing, then you have a better and a quicker payback period or turnaround time to make it to financial freedom. That is something that I really want you to appreciate. But if you are paying rent, then 30% will go to rent. But ensure that your utilities, your consumables, you should be around 5% of your salary. So if we are working with a salary of 20, you can do 5% of 20, and you can know what 5% of 20 are, so that your utilities should be around that much. Because if you go beyond there, you will already be eating into something else, either housing or eating into savings. Of course, it is considered that transportation is a key thing. So for you to make money and generate more wealth, you need to be flexible, have enough for you to move around and create wealth, rather than sitting idle, watching Man U vs Arsenal, and you come back home having taken a number of bottles, but no money in your pocket and zero saving, but enough booze in your stomach. I don't think that's good manners. If you're dreaming to be financially independent, this is not what we'll advise you to do from a professional perspective. Food is essential. At least you need to eat good food. Once you're paid your housing, priority number 2 is food. It means then you need to ensure that you invest in good food and eat good food, not junk food, and of course not eating along the road as you go. So it is allowed to do 20%. If you have to entertain yourself, work with a budget of 5%. But if you have a budget of 30% for entertainment and 5% for housing, there is a serious problem with you, because you are not following the simple rules of financial prosperity or financial independence. You really don't want to be independent in the near future, unless you have so much money, which I doubt many of us don't have that kind of money. So entertainment, work with a budget of around 5%. If you have to take debt, if you have to take a loan from a circle, take a loan from your brother, sister, wherever you get it, from Silox and all that, ensure that the loan you take, the repayment period, or I mean the repayment amount should not be more than 10% as you begin, because you'll get this, and ensure that 10% is the benchmark. You may do 5 plus or minus, more or less, but at least that is the guiding. That is the guideline. Then of course, leave some money for others, because you may need medicine. Your brothers may come home and you want to give them a nice treat. At least have some money going to other. Don't exhaust everything. In other words, don't live from hand to mouth. If you really want to be what you want to be financially. I know this is only a guideline. You may not be happy with it. It is not a rule of the thumb, but just an indication of how it looks like. In a pie chart form, you realize what is the biggest chunk. Housing will take the biggest chunk in your pie chart. It will be followed by food. It will be followed by savings, and debt sometimes can go hand in hand, slightly higher or slightly lower, not a problem. But I've tried to give you some indications of what a health budget will look like. I hope this is helpful for you. Anybody who has a question before I jump to the next area of concern? Any question? Before things get difficult, can you?
I have a question.
Yes, please. What's your name and
Brian Diritu.
the read Brian, come up.
Where does the 30-70 rule apply? Is it in budgeting or in investing?
That is in budgeting. Remember, it is the same one, but I've tried to expand it so that I told you 50 goes to essentials. So
Yes.
the essentials here is housing, which is 30, and there is also food, which is 20. So that 50 is taken care of.
Yes.
So when I told you the 20 should be in the future. So where is the future? The future is in debt, which is 10, and it's also in savings, which is 10. That is 20. And then, of course, the other one is 30.
Yes.
So basically that is it, but I've tried to make it more elaborate, to expand it a little bit, but the rule of the thumb is the 50, 30, 20. If you can't go to the deep, at least know the rule of the thumb.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't think I've confused you. I'm only trying to make it a bit clearer and also make it more realistic in terms of what we do. I've brought in some dimensions that were not mentioned, like entertainment. I brought in transportation and other things that I consider important. And of course, an element of other, which is in the future.
Thank you.
So don't worry about it's not absolute figures we are discussing here, but we're trying to get the concept. So once we get the concept, we'll see how it can help us to get what we need. Moving deeper, assuming Brian, all right. The other rule of the thumb is save and invest at early stage. So we are now discussing or bringing in the concept of savings. And I've tried to use an Excel sheet. And from that Excel sheet, assume the dollar is Kenya shillings. So I am assuming you are going to start this at the age of 25. And you have an opportunity to invest in an instrument that will give you 8%. So two things I want you to appreciate in this chart is, number one, your age and how you manage your retirement from your current age. So I have made a huge assumption that majority of us at around the age of 25 or thereabout. So if you are a few years before 25, then you have a few years to get the concept and of course get things right. Assuming all of us get a job or get something, a return by the age of 25, and you start making a saving of 5,000, and you do that every year, you can do that monthly, you can do that annually, but I'm assuming if you do that per year, assuming you make 5,000 a month and you multiply by 12 months, that is 60,000. So you'll be having 60,000, and assuming you are getting that 80% in that investment, you will have grown by 400. If it is 6,000, then you can do 80% of 60,000. You will find an element of interest that has grown up. So as you go to the next year, you can see the money is growing. So by the time you hit 60, you have to save only 5,000. You'll see how much money you will have saved. And this is in dollars. If it was in Kenya shillings, you can convert that and you see. But don't worry about the amount. What I want you to consider that every little money you put in an instrument that is returning can give you a compound effect. Because you realize from 11 to 32 to 17, 531, you will find that there is a compounding element. There is interest on interest coming in, so long as you don't withdraw. But if you withdraw, then it will be constant. But for now, I don't want you to worry about that. Then from the age of 35, I've made how many contributions? How many years are those? From 25, those are 10 years. Cindy, you guys, are you getting the concept? Hello?
Hapo imenipita.
George, I can't get you. Sorry, we've lost George for a minute, trying to get him back. Maybe from the discussion that we've had with George, I want to hear your views. Do you think the 50-30-20 can really work? Do you think the 50-30-20 can really work? Or for those even who might have gone like for paid internship somewhere, might have taken a side hustle somewhere, and maybe you depend on yourself. Did you see it working?
Yeah, it can work.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
So
Brad Momanyi.
I believe it can work if you like put your mind into it. But
Yes.
it's always a challenge when it comes to managing your finances, because troubles keep someone is lamenting in the background. I don't know who's that.
Okay, you can proceed. You can proceed.
So what I'm trying to say, especially when it comes to managing your finances, it can be a challenge because problems keep popping up. I don't know whether George mentioned where you can maybe have something like an emergency fund or something. but it's quite a challenge, but I believe it can work. It's very
Okay,
workable.
thank you. I think there's something that we've introduced. Maybe it's a question that we can pose to him. Franklin Moro.
Yeah, I think it can work to those who earn so well, but to those who earn a little bit lower income, it cannot work for them because you'll find you've got so many expenses than your income, and comes that you don't have money to save.
Now, from your perspective, how small is small and how big is big? Because we have one in almost have a six-figure salary, but they still have they are saying they can't budget to it.
Okay, let me say it depends the expenses that a person has and the
Yeah.
income the person receives. So is when that formula can work best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Odiwar Bezalel, what's your opinion?
Thank you. So I was saying it can work for real. It can work because it all depends on the mindset. Because everyone has an expense and it's proportional to the salary. Like you can tell me someone earning 20,000 cannot plan for buying a vehicle. Or someone earning something like a six-figure can also plan for that. So that's an expense to him. And the expense is limited to the income. So you can say it can work. Just depends on the mindset.
Thank you, Bezalel. Betty,
Welcome.
you wanted to go? I want us also to think on this line. There is this meme that is doing rounds. Ile time umesave, that time that you've already saved is when you get a call from the village. Your uncle has swallowed a slasher. Your has swallowed a broom. What do you think of the black tax, as they call it?
What again?
I
Black
think
tax.
that's not. Hello.
Yes, Bran.
I think that's where the problem comes in. As in I said, like, I mean, when you try hard to come up with a savings plan,
Yeah.
troubles keep popping up from everywhere, from the village, from your parents, from your friends. You know, now that's now it becomes a challenge, and you see, guilt can kill you because you can't just have some savings and you've been told someone is dying in the village having swallowed a broom. That guilt can hunt you to death.
But don't you think some people take advantage of it? Mostly those who know that in a point of employment.
Yeah, people do take advantage, yeah, most of the time. So,
And maybe how, these are the questions that we should be asking George. How do we go about it? Because we are bound to be there shortly or in a while. How will you deal with
and
it
it's a
when they
problem.
come and you want to save?
And it's always a problem to verify whether that something has happened, but it all depends with how you know people. There are those people who are genuine, but there are those who are used to, when they hear that you've been employed somewhere, that's when now they time you and they try to bring you down.
Okay, thank you, Bran, for your contribution. Betty,
Yes.
did you have any contribution? I can see your mic is on.
Oh, no, sorry, gosh, I'd removed my earphone. I
Oh.
think
Okay, you can proceed, Betty. Seems we've lost Betty. Franklin Moro, I can see your hand is up.
Yeah, I can say there's a point George was saying that you have to put aside money for emergency. So I think he's based on that fact.
Okay, thank you, Franklin. Bezalel.
He's just said my point. That was the point I wanted to say. George has said if I was concentrating that you put 10% of your income to emergency issues, the bottom, like the last bit of your budget, he has put others as an expense. So that's an emergency to me.
Okay, thank you. I can see George is back now and maybe he will be helping us understand it better. I had just brought it as a, by the way, the black tax, because you find that most of the people when we are in the financial literacy classes, they always bring up that question on the black tax. So George, back to you. George, we can get you. Your mic is on, but I can't get you. Okay, as we're waiting to get George, of course, we know that we've spoken on investment. And I know most of us are looking, he was coming to that point, but how many times have you decided to go invest or save and you found that you end up going back to the savings? Or what can you do, or what is the best practice that you have as an individual that helps you save? Because as we are talking about investment, it's not all of us that maybe will go that way of having official or normal saving methods, maybe like going into investment clubs or going into some money market funds or into some banking. What works for you, or what do you think you can do? Or have you found yourself in a situation whereby you want to save for investment but you find yourself going back for that money? Can I get some opinion, please? George, if you can also get us, you can let me know.
At you what? Repeat the question.
So I'm asking, do you find yourself at times you are saving, you want, maybe you are investing, but you have that urge, you keep on going to that investment, that saved fund to withdraw to do your things, maybe, and if not, what are some of the things that you do to maintain that particular discipline of saving? This time I will ask someone who has not spoken.
So, Joseph.
Yes, Waithera.
Yes. Can I interrupt for a minute?
Okay. You can proceed.
Yes. So because today I've tried sharing the Facebook and Twitter and all other links, and they're not working because I'm off network. I am in a very bad connection. So I would want to request that the students go to our social media pages where they've been doing the voting and taking the poll questions and vote. I'll, however, share the links on their WhatsApp tomorrow when I have proper connection. But those that can be able to go to our pages tonight, please do so.
Okay, thank you, Jen, for that announcement.
All right. Oh, yes. And maybe just last announcement, we still have the career talk on 18th June. We are going to be sharing the flyers and logging information by Wednesday, tomorrow, to all the universities and to students. And they can share with their fellow classmates who are also not in the program.
Okay, cool. So you have a chance to invite your friends so that at least they can get to know what you've been learning, and of course get that.
Sorry, there's a student from JKUAT Karen campus called Shamim. If anybody knows Shamim, ask her to message me.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Oh, Shamin, you are here?
Yeah.
You can
So
direct.
Joseph, please send Shamim my number.
Okay,
and
okay.
She will call me. She will message me, and I'll call her tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you, Shamim.
You're welcome.
Wanjanguni.
Hello.
Hello, George, you are back? George?
Joseph.
Yes?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry for that rude interruption by Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Hello, George, we can hear
Joseph,
you.
you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, George, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
What is this now? Joseph, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? George?
I wanted to confirm whether you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can, George.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, all right. I thought I was still alone. All right. How far have you gone?
We had just some few discussion on the part on
Hello?
financial or literacy, mostly on how or some of the.
Joseph, I'm trying to connect where we lost each other so that I can start from there.
Okay, we were on the investment plan on how to continue saving. That's where we had reached. We were on the schedule on how to start saving from age 25. George?
I'm saying, allow me to share again.
Okay,
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you can.
Joseph, I can hear you.
Yeah, you can proceed, George.
Yes, Joseph, I can hear you. Oh, no. Okay, I wanted to know where we stopped so that, or where we disconnected.
We were on the investment plan according to ages. George, can you get me?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. So can you see what are you seeing? What are you seeing on the screen?
You've stopped sharing, George.
Joseph, can you see my screen?
It's coming up now. It's up.
Okay. That's where we are.
Yes. The slide above.
I need a confirmation that my screen is up to everyone.
Yes, it's up.
Sorry? I'm asking, is my screen visible by everyone?
Yes.
Yes, I can see
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Internet.
You
Yes.
just need to have it full.
Yes.
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 I wanted you to confirm whether it was visible and I couldn't hear you. Okay, I'm there now.
Yes. You can just enlarge it.
So guys, I think this is where we disconnect and lost each other. Sorry for that interruption. I was trying to make a point and all right. Okay. So I was emphasizing one point about the power of savings and the multiplying effect of savings. This one, that way we are done. So we are on this one. Joseph, tuko pamoja kweli?
Tuko pamoja, George.
Good, good, good.
Yeah, you
So
can
the
just
point I
enlarge
was
it.
making is, remember we are looking at three factors. The first factor was age. The next, yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's proceed then. From the screen I've just shared, I wanted to share 3 points here. Point.
We've lost you again, George. George?
All right. So the 3 points I was making is number 1, age. Number 2 was the return on investment of 8%. Then number 3, the retirement value coming out of the investment. As we said, investment is saving a little for the future. So the little that you have said, how it grows over time, and the annual annuity or the retirement benefit value that can. Okay. Is that good enough? Anyway, I'm done with it. Let's go to the next level. So the next level is needs and wants. The next conversation we are discussing is the conversation around the must-haves and I would like to have. So when you look at the needs and wants, when we were discussing, we differentiated between a want and a need. A need, you have no option. You may have to invest in it or you may have to spend. So the needs are like you must pay, you need some housing, you need to food, you need some water and all those things. So those are needs. But once the moment you say I could like to have, meaning if you don't miss it or if you don't get it, you don't die. Those are wants. They're discretional. In other words, your wants can be as big as your resources and as big as your wallet is. At the beginning of this century, an average American, they say, had about 72 wants, considered 18 of them important. But by the end of the century, the average American had 496 wants, where he was considering 96 of them genuine necessities for happiness. So the idea is to differentiate between a need and a want. And you need to differentiate in your life in terms of finances. What are your needs in finance and what are your wants in finance? Rule of the thumb number 2, do not borrow what you cannot pay back. So look at this dude. The dude has gone for higher education loan board. He has gone through the university. Now, yes. Okay. Is it better? Yeah. So I was talking of this dude who has gone back to the bazaar back in high school. And this is what he's saying. Instead of me paying my loan or my student loan, I'm returning my diploma certificate or my degree certificate because it didn't work for me. So I'm returning the certificate and you give me back my money. What do you think about this expression? What do you think about this? Somebody? Brian, what are you seeing?
Actually, I can't see the slide that you're presenting. I can only see the one that has got invested ESG, save and invest at early age.
Joseph, am I the only one talking to myself?
And maybe
No, George, we can hear you unless you are not hearing us.
Something is terribly long. Joseph.
Yes, George.
Where did you lose me again?
On the slides. Seems the slide you are presenting has a mismatch. It's not the one that is on.
Hello?
Hi, George.
This is becoming unbearable. Joseph.
George.
Joseph.
Yes, George.
I think we are having difficulties in connectivity, and I'm suggesting that we tackle questions and call it a day at this point.
Okay, can you hear us?
We can pick it up from there next time.
Okay, no problem. So guys, I think we can just take some question and then we can pick it from where George.
Joseph.
Yes.
I think and then we proceed from the next class. Just make it known.
So guys,
Abigail, Mwakamba, can you hear me?
So guys, I think George is
Yes, I can.
George is having some problem with his connection, so he can't really hear us. So I will just ask ourselves to post some of the questions here, and then we'll pick the remaining presentation from where we'll have left, and have the discussion later. So anyone who has a question, Bezalel.
Thank you. I was asking, is over-ambition in investment a bad deal, or is it a good deal? Like, for example, there's a time I saved my money, then there was the time when online business was at its peak. So I tried to invest in one, then my investment, like we say, ilikunywa maji, yeah. So is it my fault, or was I in the good path, in the right path? I never considered some factors. Thank you.
Okay, maybe we'll just pick the question as they come, but George will be responding to them later. So you can just put it even on chat. George will respond to it because I believe he's also seeing it in chat. He's seeing the chats. Any other person with a question? Franklin Moro.
Yes, I get this question. So we have the problem of sometimes you start solving them problem.
Franklin, you are getting lost. You are breaking.
Okay, I'm asking like this. As you had the problem, you start saving, then problems start popping up. Do you think
Yes.
saving with insurance companies is the best option because you cannot claim easily?
Okay, thank you. It's a nice question. You can post it on the chat box as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other person with a question? If none, I see we are time bound. It's 14 minutes past our time. So today that we have Abigail, she will also take us through the session that we do Byron. So you will sign up for us something. I'm trying to look what we can get today. Trying to see the topic of the day. Just a minute. So Abigail will sign for us finance skills. finance skills.
Okay. So this is finance. F, and then you do finance. Can everybody see me?
Can we all see Abigail?
I can't see her.
How?
I think
see her.
finance skills. This is skills. Skills.
We can go again. We can all turn our cameras on.
Are we ready?
Yes, we can now go. We can now go, Terry. Sorry. Abigail.
Okay. I think when we start like this, then these 3 fingers face forward, and then you
Can
do
you hear
like
me
this.
now? I can hear you now. I am wondering whether you guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, George. We are just having
Loud and clear.
the sign off with Abigail.
Joseph, I need you to confirm you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, George. Okay, we can proceed, Abigail.
Okay.
Abigail, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, George.
I heard Brian saying like he lost me from the 10th slide. So I wanted to know. It seems it's not the one that is. It's not. Which one are they asking for? That one? Joseph, lead me, please. I'm having difficulties from my hand.
Hi, George. Can you hear us?
I'm on slide number 9. So where do we start?
George, kindly present. Your screen is not being presented.
Hi.
So I think we agreed we are going to finish the class for today so that we can proceed as from next lesson.
I can hear you.
Okay. Abigail, you can just sign off as we end the class. So, financial skills.
Okay. Financial skills. Skills. With both hands, you don't do finance like this. I can see you, Brian. It's financial skills.
We can all turn our cameras on and do that. Financial skills.
Yes. Financial skills. Skills.
Thank you, Abigail, for that. Thank you for those who have turned their camera. I believe we've learned something new today, financial skill, and we'll proceed. So one day I will pick randomly and get to see people sign in for all that we've learned. So if you have a friend or you might have forgotten, you can speak well with Abigail or Byron so that they can remind you on some of the things that they have taught us on how to sign. So thank you for attending today's class. Wishing you a wonderful night. And just remember to keep posting on our social medias platform, and also be prepared for the 18th June career talk with the Standard Chartered Bank CEO, Mr. Ngare. Thank you all. Have a blessed night.
Thank you too. Have a blessed one too.
Hello, before we go.
Yes.
Yes, Betty.
I would wish to get the WhatsApp link. I heard something about a WhatsApp link.
Kindly, if there's anyone in the group can share that to Betty on the chat before we leave.
Let me type my number before we log out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've typed my number. Someone can send me the link, please.